Sharmila Joshi, Head Equity at Fairwealth Securities, now joins in on the show. Sharmila, in terms of the macroeconomic data that's stacked up, we're at a 9-year low for the GDP. Yesterday, the rupee was also at an all-time low. Where do you see the markets headed from here on?
Absolutely. I think, the number that we got yesterday was an absolute shocker, and we are also entering into a month where there is going to be a lot of major things, major events to happen. You have a whole the whole event of the Greece election, plus on June 18th you will wait to hear from RBI. But at the end of the day, I think somewhere yesterday's number was also a wake up, in the sense that there is no getting away from the fact that unless you can manage your internal growth story, we really have nothing to say for ourselves. So even if things had been good all around, at the end of the day, if you're talking of a growth of 5.3, it really skews the picture very badly. So I think going ahead, as far as markets are concerned, I think you are going to see perhaps range-bound markets, but definitely with a downward bias, and perhaps closer to the. We will of course kind of get the market direction will follow the diktats of what is happening globally, but I think that the internals of the market are so unconvincing that it will be probably at much lower levels that you will see the buying coming in. So while that happens, I think it's best to start looking at definitely buying, but to wait for the drawdowns to really enter the market.
Right, Sharmila, I'll just come back to you in a moment, but Mahindra & Mahindra has just put out its May domestic sales number. It's pretty much flat, 18,019 units versus 17,952 units in the previous month. So pretty much flat over there. So we'll just wait and get more details as and when that comes in. But total sales at 43,988 against 34,322 units in April. So those are the numbers. But Sharmila, just before we get more details on those M&M numbers that are just out, a quick word on the auto pack. How are you viewing autos? We also had Maruti just a short while earlier put out a fairly disappointing set of sales data.
Absolutely. I think that perhaps for M&M the positive has been with the XUV sales that they've had, but I think there again, if you look at the kind of tractor guidance that they've given, and the kind of tractor performance for the last year, then that's really where the disappointment has been. And tractors has been the segment that gets the better margins in any case. So I think given all that, my view is that as far as all the four-wheelers are concerned, whether it's a Tata Motors, whether it's a Maruti, whether it's a Mahindra & Mahindra, they're going to have to rethink a whole new strategy, given the fact that petrol is at the prices that it is. And I think that's a picture that's going to continue. I mean, even if we were to say that that you see a partial rollback in petrol prices, there's no getting away from the fact that we do need to get more pocket-friendly variants on the road. So whether it is diesel, whether it's any other LNG versions, I think that rollout needs to happen a lot faster. And I think that I would wait to see really strategy coming from these companies on how that they're going to address those issues going ahead. So post-correction, perhaps a stock like Tata Motors looks good to me, definitely. But I think that for the longer run, I would wait for a quarter before you really decide anything on the four-wheeler back.
All right, let's just pull up the stock price of an M&M once again. In terms of the total sales numbers, the ET Now poll was working with a figure of 42,000 units, and this seems to have surpassed that number. So it's 43,988 units. This is versus a figure of 34,323 units. So that on a year-on-year basis would indicate a jump of close to 27%. In terms of the tractor sales, we were expecting 15,500 units. In April, they reported 16,049. The stock price of M&M reacted positively, but failing to sustain at those levels. Nonetheless, 652 after a fairly disappointing set of numbers from Maruti and a set of numbers that were fairly okay for a TVS Motors. Some more details you have in terms of the passenger vehicle sales. That too is higher by 27%, 21,154 units for Mahindra & Mahindra. Meantime, Sharmila wanted a view on the real estate and the infrastructure space. We've been talking about how policy initiatives are really not going through. So in light of this, would you be short on that entire sector?
Infra I would start buying. I think infra and banking I would start buying. As I said earlier, perhaps wait for the drawdowns, buy incrementally, because I think, in terms of PSU banks, the dividend yield itself is so attractive at this point in time on some of the stocks within the PSU space. So, if you were to buy it with a view that you're going to hold on to it for a year plus, then it becomes a very safe strategy, I think, from a retail investor perspective. And I think when it comes to capital goods and infra, I would think that, maybe 1 or 2 quarters down the line, things would start looking better for them, simply because we have seen one interest rate cut coming in, and, the positive effect of that will be felt a couple of quarters down the line. But, real estate has not been a space that I'm at least particularly fond of. So there could be a couple of stocks there that that I would look at, maybe a Godrej Properties or maybe an HDIL. But I think barring that, I'm not, really, because of the whole host of issues that there have been, their debt burdens, corporate governance, etc., etc. So it's not a space that I'm particularly positive on. So that's a sector that I would avoid.
Okay.